Christmas Eve contract. She didn't know the millionaire wasn't hiring her. He was choosing his bride. Hello, everyone. Before we begin today's story, I have a small favor to ask. Please hit subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you never miss our channel's new videos. It is quick, free, and the best way to support us in bringing you more dramatic stories. Your support means the world to us. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments below. Thank you very much. Now let us return to our main character. Christmas Eve should have been ordinary. Just another night of cheap cocoa-thin gloves and the kind of quiet loneliness Arya Stone had learned to carry without breaking. But fate had a cruel sense of timing. By 7 p.m. she had been fired from the cafe for something she didn't do. By 7:20, her landlord sent a final warning: pay half the rent tonight, or pack it tomorrow. By 7:45, snow turned the streets into a white prison, forcing her to walk home with frozen fingers and a hollow chest. And at 8:15, a black SUV with tinted windows rolled to a stop beside her. The man who stepped out wasn't a driver nor a messenger. He wore a long black coat, a dark blue tie, and held himself like someone accustomed to getting what he wanted. Without greeting her, he handed her a gold-sealed envelope. "Miss Stone," he said evenly, "the chairman has been waiting for you." Inside the envelope was a note written in elegant ink. "Your interview is at 9 p.m. Hale Dominion Tower, 48th floor, private." Arya had never applied for any job at Hale Dominion, but as she lifted her eyes to the skyscraper piercing the snowy sky, something cold slid down her spine. Because deep inside, beneath fear, beneath confusion, she felt it. This wasn't a job invitation. It was a summons. And someone on that 48th floor already knew she was coming. Snow clung to her hair in lashes by the time she reached the lobby of Hale Dominion Tower. The building felt like a cathedral of glass and steel, hushed, gleaming, almost haunted by silence. The receptionist's desk was empty, the marble floors spotless as if no one had walked on them all day. The moment she stepped forward, 2 security guards appeared from opposite sides as though they had been waiting for her cue. "Miss Arya Stone," one asked. She hesitated. Yes, this way, please." Damien Hale watched the screen as the pen slipped from Arya Stone's fingers. The room lights dimmed around her, casting her trembling silhouette against the oak table. Snow drifted past the windows of his surveillance chamber, but his gaze never left her. 3 years. 3 years of looking for the girl who saved his life, only to finally watch her sign her name on the line that bound her to him. Finally he breathed, voice low and rough with something close to relief, something close to obsession. His assistant Rowan shifted uneasily beside him. "You shouldn't be this pleased, sir. You orchestrated the entire—" Damien raised a hand. The man fell silent immediately. "She was always going to come," Damien said. "Tonight only guaranteed it." Rowan hesitated, then tapped another monitor. A split screen showed the rooftop security feed, the blurry outline of a man in a hooded coat watching the building from across the street. "He's back," Rowan said. "Same signature, same timing." Damien's jaw clenched. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing dangerously. "He found her too, we can't confirm, but he appeared the moment Miss Stone approached the tower." Silence thickened. A cold, dark current passed through Damien's expression, an emotion sharp enough to slice. "Then accelerate the plan," he said. "No more delays." Rowan swallowed. "Sir, this isn't a normal recruitment. Hale Dominion isn't supposed to be used like it's mine." Damien's tone cut like ice. "And so is she." Rowan stepped back, spine stiffening. "Understood." Damien tapped the screen, enlarging the image of Arya reading the contract again. Her brows furrowed in confusion and exhaustion. She looked so breakable standing alone in that too big room, snow melting on her coat. He remembered her hands shaking bloodied, pulling him out of a burning car 3 winters ago. He'd been trapped, barely conscious. And then there she was, a blur of courage and fire dragging him into the snow until the flames swallowed the wreck behind them. He never forgot the sound of her breathing, ragged but determined. He never forgot her face, or the way she vanished into the white night before he could speak a single word. He searched for her for months, years, traced blurry footage of a girl in a long coat, collected every CCTV clip within 5 city blocks, tracked down the fabric of the scarf she used to tie his wound. He built an entire digital profile of a woman he'd only met for 90 seconds. And now there she was, in his tower, signing a contract she had no idea bound her to him, a contract he had rewritten a dozen times. Damien pressed his fingers to his temple and exhaled slowly. "She's here," he whispered, "and I won't lose her again." Arya stood frozen in the golden-lit room, the whisper target secured still echoing through the intercom. Her body tingled with a strange mixture of fear and disbelief. She took one step backward before the lights silently brightened again. A second envelope slid beneath the door like someone had pushed it from the hallway. She flinched. Slowly she bent to pick it up. Her name, Arya Stone, was embossed across the front in deep blue ink. Her chest tightened. Inside was a simple note. "Proceed to the car park. Your transportation awaits. No signature, no instructions. Just the cold certainty that whoever wanted her here wasn't done with her yet." Arya pushed open the office door, half expecting someone to be waiting in the hallway. But it was just as empty as before, quiet, sterile, too still. She started down the glowing path of lights. The elevator at the end opened before she reached it. Of course it did. She stepped in, gripping the envelope, the doors sealing her in with a hiss. This elevator wasn't the same as the one she came in. This one had velvet-lined walls, a glass chandelier overhead, and a faint scent of cedar drifting from the vents. The digital screen displayed only 2 destinations, level 48 private residence. Her stomach dropped. Before she could touch anything, the elevator descended on its own, stopping at a private lobby. The double glass doors ahead parted in sync, revealing a long hallway filled with swirling blue light projections, almost like she was walking through a tunnel of frozen mist. At the far end, a man in a black suit stood waiting. He bowed slightly. "Miss Stone, your car is ready." "My car," Arya whispered. He didn't answer. He simply gestured toward the exit. Outside in the underground car park, a sleek black town car idled like a dark beast, breathing in the cold. A driver stepped out and opened the back door for her. "Please," the man said softly, "don't keep the chairman waiting." Arya froze. "The chairman," she echoed. "Yes, miss." Snow drifted in from the open ramp behind them. The car's interior glowed warm and golden. She looked at the driver, then at the suited man behind her, then at the vast, empty car park. Something inside her whispered again, "Run," but her legs didn't move. She climbed into the car. The door closed behind her with a soft click, trapping the warmth in and the danger with it. The driver took his seat. "We'll arrive in 15 minutes. Arrive where she asked." He offered a faint smile in the mirror. "To your new residence." Arya's breath caught. The elevator. The contract. Clause No. 1. The candidate must reside in the chairman's primary residence. "What if I don't want this job?" she whispered. The driver's smile didn't fade. "Miss Stone, the chairman does not make offers he expects to be declined." The car eased out of the garage and into the storm tires, whispering over snow, and at the top of Hale Dominion Tower, Damien Hale watched her car disappear into the whiteness, one hand pressed to the cold glass, a dangerous vow burning in his eyes. "She's mine now," he murmured, "and this time nothing will take her from me. No sign-in sheet, no badge, no questions." They simply escorted her to a private elevator, one she had never seen used during her years living downtown. The doors slid open before anyone touched a button, and the guards stepped back, leaving her to enter alone. Arya swallowed hard. The elevator walls were black glass, reflecting her pale, anxious face as she stepped inside. The doors closed soundlessly, sealing her in darkness until a single strip of blue light flickered on overhead. Then the lift moved fast, too fast, toward the 48th floor. Her phone buzzed. "Unknown number, don't run." Her stomach dropped. Arya slammed her thumb against the emergency button. Nothing. She tried again, still nothing. The elevator continued rising smooth as a blade through water. Her breath fogged the glass. She pressed a hand to the wall to steady herself, but the glass warmed instantly beneath her palm. As if someone had turned on heat sensors. Someone was watching. Her reflection blurred the blue tint, sharpening into a faint silhouette behind her. She spun around, but the space was empty. The elevator slowed. Just before the doors opened, A low, mechanical whisper brushed through the overhead speaker, target approaching. Her heart stuttered. She stumbled back, hitting the rail as the doors parted. The corridor outside was dimly lit, long and impossibly quiet. Frosted glass walls glowed faintly, creating an eerie blue haze. A single line of lights guided her forward like runway markers. No people, no reception desk, no sound except her heartbeat. A sign on the left read "Private, authorized personnel only," and beneath it, a door stood ajar. The gold light spilling through the crack pulled her like a magnet. She stepped closer, each breath trembling in the cold air. When she pushed the door open fully, the faint scent of cedar and white musk washed over her. The room was empty. No interviewer, no desk clutter, just a single oak table in the center illuminated by a hanging lamp. On the table lay one document, a contract, thick, bound, stamped in red. Arya approached slowly, reading the title. Confidential Employment Agreement, Candidate Arya Stone. Her pulse pounded. She hadn't filled out any application. How did they have her name printed? How long had they been expecting her? She flipped the first page. Clause number 1. The candidate must reside in the chairman's primary residence for security purposes. Clause 2. The candidate must accompany the chairman to all scheduled events. Clause number 3. The candidate must refrain from intimate association with any other male individual during the contract period. Her eyes widened. What kind of assistant job required this? She glanced behind her. Still no one. The pen lay directly on the signature line as though placed there moments ago. Her phone buzzed again. Do not refuse. Her throat tightened as she stared at the waiting signature. The room felt colder. A faint click echoed above, as if a camera lens had just adjusted its focus. Someone was watching her from somewhere unseen. Her hand trembled as she picked up the pen. She shouldn't sign this. Every instinct screamed at her to run. But the image of her landlord, the cafe, the snowstorm, the empty bank account, all of it crashed over her. Her breath shuddered out. She signed. The lamp flickered. The room lights dimmed. A soft, eerie voice whispered through the intercom, "Target secured." Arya dropped the pen, and 50 feet away, behind a hidden wall of smoked glass, a man watched her with eyes dark as a winter night, whispering, "Finally, I found you." Arya's pulse echoed in her ears as the town car glided through the snow-drenched streets. Streetlights blurred into streaks of gold. Her breath fogged the window each time she exhaled. She tried not to think about the contract she'd signed. She tried not to think about the message, "Target secured." But the truth kept circling back like a cold hand around her throat. She had signed something she didn't understand, and someone wanted her exactly where she was right now. The driver didn't speak again. He only hummed along with the engine eyes fixed on the road. Every turn felt deliberate, every slowdown intentional. Every shadow outside the window seemed to lean closer, as if watching her through the glass. 10 minutes later, the car slowed at the gates of a sprawling estate. High stone walls loomed, crowned by wrought iron fencing. A pair of security guards in tailored coats waved them through without checking anything. The gates opened smoothly, almost silently, as if on cue. Arya's stomach tightened. Ahead stood a mansion that didn't look like it belonged in this world. Snow glittered across the sloped slate roofs, warm light glowing through tall arched windows. 2 marble statues guarded the entrance, one of a lion, one of a hawk. Both seemed to stare directly at her. The car stopped. The driver opened her door. "Please, Miss Stone." Her boots crunched against the path as she stepped out into the cold. She wrapped her coat tighter around her, but the air felt strangely warm, like the estate itself breathed heat. The massive oak doors at the top of the stairs opened before she reached them. A man in a charcoal suit with silver hair stepped out, his spine straight, his eyes soft yet precise. "Welcome home, Miss Stone," he said, bowing slightly. Arya blinked. "Home, I think there's been a mistake. I'm only here for your residence has been prepared in advance," he said gently. "My residence? Of course. It was arranged the moment the chairman selected you." Her breath hitched. Selected. Butler or whatever he was simply motioned her inside. The foyer swallowed her in warm light. Chandeliers shimmered overhead, casting fractal sparkles onto the marble floor. A sweeping staircase split into two curves leading upward, like two arms open to receive her. Her reflection shimmered on the polished floor. She looked small, out of place. "May I take your coat?" the man asked. She hesitated, then let him slip it off her shoulders. "Who are you?" Ria asked quietly. "My name is Carlyle," he replied. "Head attendant of Hale Manor. I am here to assist with anything you need." "Hale Manor," she repeated. The name felt like a whisper of a truth she wasn't ready to hear. "Allow me to show you to your room," Carlyle said. He led her down a long hallway lined with portraits, men and women whose eyes seemed to follow her. She caught her reflection in a gilded mirror and thought for a moment she saw someone else's silhouette standing just behind her. But when she turned, the hallway was empty. Carlyle opened a door. "This will be your room, Miss Stone." She stepped inside and the breath caught in her throat. The room was enormous. Soft white carpet, a fireplace crackling gently, a bed big enough for a family. Every detail immaculate, warm, inviting. But what froze her was the dressing table. On it lay a jewelry box, and beside it, a snowflake necklace. Her fingers trembled as she lifted it. The initials AS were engraved on the back. Exactly her name. I don't understand, Arya whispered. Carlyle smiled faintly. "The chairman placed that there the night you saved him." Her blood ran cold. "What night?" she whispered. "What are you talking about?" "The night of the accident 3 years ago," he replied. "You pulled him from the wreckage. You wrapped his wound with your scarf. You left before anyone arrived but the chairman. Never forgot you." She shook her head. "That's impossible. I don't even remember his face." "You were in shock," Carlyle said softly. Arya's fingers tightened around the necklace. "But how did he find me?" "He never stopped searching." Her heart thudded painfully. Suddenly a soft chiming sound echoed through the room. A gentle blue light pulsed from the hallway, slow, rhythmic, almost alive. Arya stepped out to see where it came from. The hallway lights flickered, then brightened. She walked toward the source, an ornate security panel near a sealed door at the very end of the hallway. The moment she came within 2 feet of it, the panel glowed brighter, then scanned upward with a soft chime. A message flashed across the display. "Identity verified. Access granted." Arya gasped. She hadn't touched anything. She hadn't been registered, but the system recognized her. Carlyle appeared instantly, breath sharp. "Miss Stone, please step back." "Why does it know me?" Raya whispered. "That door is restricted," he replied tightly. "No one enters except the chairman. Please come away." Before he could reach her, the lock on the door clicked loud, unmistakable. It was unlocking. Arya stumbled backward, pulse racing. Carlyle's eyes widened. This shouldn't be happening. A gust of warm air drifted from the narrow opening as the door creaked just an inch, enough to show a sliver of darkness inside. Then a faint sound drifted out, soft, slow, painfully familiar. Piano. Someone was playing a melody she recognized from somewhere deep in her memory, something she couldn't name but felt in her bones. Carlyle stepped between her and the door. "Miss Stone, please return to your room. Now." "Who's in there?" she whispered. He hesitated. "The chairman. Why is he playing my—" She stopped, unable to finish the question. She didn't even understand it. Carlyle guided her back to her room with a firmness she didn't expect. "Get some rest. Everything will be explained soon." Before he closed the door behind her, his voice softened. "He has been waiting a very long time." Arya stood alone in the room, the snowflake necklace cold in her hand, the memory of the piano melody lingering like smoke in the air. And somewhere behind the sealed door, she knew a man she couldn't remembered everything about her. Arya woke to warmth pressing against her cheeks and the quiet hum of central heating flowing through the vents. Morning light spilled across the ceiling in soft gold, but for a moment she forgot where she was. The bed beneath her was too soft, the air too warm, the silence too deep. Then the memory rushed back, the mansion Carlyle, the necklace, the forbidden hallway, the piano. She sat upright, breath shallow. Someone had been waiting for her, someone who already knew her, someone who lived behind a locked door no one else was allowed to enter. A soft knock broke the silence. Miss Stone Carlyle's calm voice floated through the door. "Breakfast is ready whenever you are." Arya hesitated, fingers curling into the blanket. I'll be right out." When she stepped into the hallway, she expected cold emptiness. Instead, warm lamps lit the corridor in soft amber, and two maids bowed as she passed. "Good morning, Miss Stone," one said gently. Their tone was too respectful, wrongfully respectful, as if they weren't greeting a guest, but greeting a woman of the house. Arya walked slowly, the memory of the door scanning her still flashing in her mind. Identity verified, access granted. She followed the faint aroma of coffee down the staircase into a dining room framed by tall windows. Snow fell steadily outside, coating the landscape in white. Carlyle stood waiting beside a table set for two, but only one plate had been prepared. "Where's the chairman?" Arya asked. Carlyle's expression tightened. "Unavailable at the moment. He's avoiding me," she murmured. "On the contrary," Carlyle said gently. "He is preparing." "For what?" Carlyle replied before he caught himself. "For your arrival, I mean." Arya sank into the chair. The moment she picked up her fork, a soft chime sounded. Carlyle stepped aside and a young maid hurried in. "There is an item for Miss Stone," the maid said, nervously, placing a slim velvet box beside Arya's plate. "I didn't order anything," Arya said. "It's from the chairman," Carlyle answered. Her pulse quickened. She opened the box. Inside was a key. A beautifully crafted silver key, its handle shaped like a snowflake. Arya turned it over. Engraved along the stem was a single word, belonging. A strange, cold sensation crept up her spine. "Belonging what?" "Belonging," Carlyle repeated softly. "It is a message." Arya closed the box quickly. "What does it unlock?" Carlyle bowed his head. "You will know when it is time." The evasion made her chest tighten. "Carlyle, this is ridiculous. I don't know your chairman. I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why he knows my name or what happened that night 3 years ago." He didn't speak. He only looked at her with the quiet grief of someone who wanted to tell the truth but wasn't allowed. Something cracked inside Arya. "Fine," she muttered. "If he won't talk to me, I'll find him myself." She stood, quickly sending her chair scraping back. Carlyle took a step forward, alarm flashing in his eyes. Miss Stone. But she was already moving. Arya walked through the mansion with determination she didn't feel. This place was too pristine, too silent, too symmetrical. Every corner felt curated. Every hallway felt like a path meant only for her. Portraits lined the walls, ancestors with sharp eyes, cold stares, and a familiarity she couldn't explain. Some faces even looked a little like the man she glimpsed from the rooftop camera feed. The man Rowan mentioned. The man Damien feared. Her head throbbed with unanswered questions. She reached the second-floor landing where the forbidden hallway waited like a dark, beckoning throat. Today the door was firmly locked. A red indicator blinked above the handle. "Access denied." "Yesterday it opened," she whispered. "Why not today?" She leaned closer. Something shifted behind the door. The sound was faint fabric brushing a soft exhale. Footsteps moving slowly across the floor. Her heart pounded. "Is someone in there?" The sound paused, then slowly, deliberately, someone touched the door from the other side. A soft thud, a hand, a presence. Arya backed away, breath frozen in her lungs. A deep, muffled voice came through the wood. "Not yet," it whispered. She stumbled back, pulse racing. The voice, smooth, warm, unmistakably male, hit her like a physical blow. Something inside her responded with a jolt of recognition. Something buried and distant. She knew that voice. She didn't know how. She didn't know from where. But she knew it. Footsteps echoed behind her. "Miss Stone!" Carlyle's tone was sharp this time. Not gentle, not patient, sharp. "You must come away from this door." Arya stared at the wood. "He spoke to me." Carlyle exhaled shakily. "Please, Miss Stone, this part of the manor is not for you." A chill crawled over her. "Then who is it for?" Carlyle hesitated. "For the chairman alone." Arya clenched her fists. "I want answers. I want to see him." "You will," Carlyle said. "Tonight." "Tonight," she repeated, heart tightening. Yes, Carlyle said, lowering his voice. He is preparing the winter ballroom. He asked that you be brought there at 9. For what Carlyle didn't answer, he only bowed. You will understand soon. Arya looked back at the forbidden door. The air still hummed with the warmth of the voice behind it. Her pulse still thundered. 9 o'clock. Winter ballroom. A meeting she didn't ask for with a man she didn't remember. A man who remembered everything about her. And somewhere inside this mansion she knew he was listening, waiting, wanting. Tonight she would finally see the chairman, and she wasn't sure whether she was terrified or drawn to him. Arya stood in front of the mirror, the snowflake necklace resting cold against her collarbone. The closer the clock crept toward 9, the heavier the air in her room became. Something in this mansion pulsed like a heartbeat, buried in the walls, syncing with her own. By 8:45 she couldn't stand pacing anymore. She slipped on her coat and opened her door. The hallway lights brightened as if greeting her. Carlyle was waiting downstairs, hands folded neatly. "Miss Stone, if you're ready, I'll escort you." She nodded, unable to shake the tremor running through her veins. He led her through wide corridors she hadn't seen before, arched ceilings, velvet curtains, and framed photographs of the Hale family. Some photos were old black and white, others modern. In one, Arya paused. One showed a teenage Damien Hale standing beside his parents, but in his hand was an object blurred by movement. A snowflake necklace. Her necklace. Carlyle noticed her pause but didn't comment. Instead, he opened a tall white door and gestured inside. "The chairman is waiting." Arya stepped into the winter ballroom. The room was breathtaking, floor-to-ceiling windows framed snowfall outside, while chandeliers cast icy prisms across the marble floor. It felt like stepping into a frozen fairy tale, but there was only one person inside. A man stood near the windows, his back to her, hands in the pockets of his dark suit. His reflection glimmered faintly against the glass. The air thickened. Damien Hale turned slowly. Arya's breath faltered. He looked nothing like the shadow she had imagined. He was tall, broad-shouldered, composed with dark hair, slightly tousled as though he'd run a restless hand through it too many times. His eyes, deep, fierce, and painfully familiar, locked onto her instantly. Her knees almost gave way, because she had seen him before, not just in the accident memory, somewhere else, somewhere she couldn't name. "Arya," he said softly. Just her name, yet it hit her like a strike to the chest. She swallowed. "You're the chairman," he nodded once. "Damien Hale. You could have just called me, or emailed, or anything besides sending people to pick me up." Her voice trembled despite her best effort to steady it. "I tried," Damien said. "You changed your number 5 times. You moved apartments. You quit jobs after a few weeks. I sent letters. You returned them unopened. I didn't know who you were." He stepped closer. "But I knew who you were." Her heart hammered. Why me? Damien didn't answer right away. Instead, he lifted a hand, brushing something invisible from her sleeve, as if he had done it 1,000 times before. "You saved my life," he said quietly. 3 years ago. You dragged me out of a burning car with your bare hands." Arya's breath caught. The memory flashed a snowstorm, flames, a man's voice calling out, but the image remained foggy, fractured. "I didn't know your name," she whispered. "I knew yours," he said. "You said it without realizing. You murmured it when you tied my wound. And then you disappeared." Arya took a step back. "So you found me. I searched for you," Damien corrected gently. "Every day." She shook her head, disbelief mixing with something warmer, something dangerous. "You built a contract around me. You brought me here. You put my name on everything before I even arrived. That's not normal." "No," Damien said. "It's not." He didn't apologize. He didn't even pretend to, and that terrified her more than anything. "Why am I in your house?" Damien's eyes softened. "Because it's the safest place for you." Safe from who? His jaw tensed. "Someone else was there the night of the accident. Someone who wanted me dead. Someone who saw you." Arya froze. "The other man on the rooftop camera," she murmured. His silence was confirmation. "And what does that have to do with me? Because he never stopped looking for you either," Damien said. "And he is not someone who saves people. He is someone who destroys them." A cold shiver ran down her spine. She stepped away from him, struggling to breathe. "I didn't ask to be involved in any of this. No, he said softly. But you are. Damien reached into his coat and pulled out a folded piece of paper. He held it out. She hesitated before taking it. It was a photograph. Her, walking to work, taken from several feet behind. The date stamped on the corner was from 2 months ago. Not by Damien. Someone else. I intercepted it, Damien said, before it reached its intended destination. Arya's entire body went cold, the room spinning. Someone was following me. For months, Damien admitted. Her throat tightened. Then why didn't you warn me? Snowflakes whipped against Arya's cheeks as she ran through the courtyard, her breath fogging violently in the icy air. Her heels slipped on the slick stone, but she didn't stop, not even when her lungs burned, not even when her vision blurred with tears she refused to let fall. Behind her, Damien's voice cut through the night. Arya, stop. She didn't. She pushed through the main doors of the manor and stumbled inside, slamming them shut behind her. The grand foyer felt colder than the storm outside, its tall ceiling swallowing her sobs as she struggled to steady her breathing. She had to get out. She had to pack. She had to leave this place before it sank its claws deeper into her. But as she took her first step toward the staircase, she felt it again. The thrum beneath the floorboards, that strange pulse that moved like a heartbeat. She froze. A soft chime echoed down the hallway, the same blue glow she'd seen days before, flickering to life like a warning. Then a voice. Not Carlyle, not a maid, not Damien. A different voice, low, warm, too familiar. Arya. Her blood turned to ice. No sound came from the staircase. No footsteps echoed around her. The voice had come from deeper inside the manor, from the forbidden hallway. She should have run. She should have pretended she didn't hear it. She should have locked herself in her room. Instead, her feet began to move toward the sound, slow, hesitant steps echoing through the empty hall. The blue light grew brighter with each step she took, illuminating the long corridor like a runway cutting through darkness. The door at the very end, the forbidden door, was half open, barely, just enough to reveal a sliver of darkness beyond it. Her breath shook. "Hello," she whispered. Nothing. No answer. No movement. But the air stirred, warm and electric, brushing her cheek like a hand she couldn't see. She reached the door. Her fingers hovered over it, trembling. The moment she touched the wood, the door swung open silently, as if responding to her. The room beyond was dim, lit only by a few recessed lights that cast long shadows across shelves lined with documents, photographs, and objects sealed in glass cases. Her heartbeat echoed in her ears. A scent drifted toward her cedar and winter fire. Damien's scent. But there was someone else here, too. A shadow shifted behind one of the shelves. Arya's breath caught. "Who's there?" The figure stepped out. Damien Hale. Or, at least she thought it was him. His face was pale, strained, his eyes stormy with a mix of fear and something else, guilt. "Arya," he said, voice low. "You shouldn't be here." She backed up. "You lied to me. I know. You deceived me. I had to. You planned a contract that wasn't a job, brought me into your house. Let people call me your fiancé. I know," he repeated, stepping closer. "And I will fix that." But she shook her head. "You don't get to decide my life for me." Damien stopped just inches away, jaw tightening. "I wasn't deciding," he said quietly. "I was protecting." She almost laughed. "From what? A contract I never read, a world I know nothing about." "No," Damien whispered. "From him." He stepped aside and pointed to the back of the room, where a wall of screens flickered to life. Each screen showed a different angle of the city. One zoomed in. A man in a dark hooded coat stood on a street corner beneath a broken lamp, watching the manor, watching her. Arya's breath left her in a shiver. "That man," Damien said, voice thick, "is the reason I've done everything. Every camera, every guard, every restriction. He was there the night of the accident, and he wasn't there to help." Arya stared at the screen, her heartbeat pounding panic into her bloodstream. "And what does he want with me?" she whispered. Damien's expression darkened. "You saw something that night, something you were never meant to see." Arya shook her head. "I don't remember anything." "That's why he wants you," Damien said. "He thinks your memory will return. And when it does," he didn't finish. He didn't need to. She already knew. The man wanted her dead. She stumbled backward, hitting a glass case. Papers inside fluttered like trapped wings. Her gaze fell on the label at the bottom of the case. Witness A. Stone, status at risk, protect at all costs. Her stomach twisted. You wrote this, she whispered. Damien's jaw tightened. No. Aria's breath hitched. No, then who? Before she could speak, the room's speakers crackled. A distorted voice filled the air. Found her. Damien's head snapped toward the sound, eyes sharp with panic. Aria felt the blood drain from her body. What was that? Damien grabbed her wrist. We're leaving, now. Damien, don't argue. He snapped. He's in the system. He breached the perimeter cameras. We don't have much time. He pulled her toward the hallway, but Aria yanked her hand away, chest heaving. You said you'd tell me the truth, she cried. All of it, no more secrets. Damien froze. The soft blue light behind them flickered. The voice came again, closer, this time less distorted. Aria. She felt it like a breath on her neck. Damien's eyes widened. Now isn't the time. It is, she insisted. Tell me what I saw that night. He stepped toward her, cupping her face gently but urgently, as if she might disappear. You saw me, he whispered, bleeding, wrapped, dying, and you saw him too, standing over me. Her heart slammed. Damien's voice dropped to a broken whisper. You saw him try to finish what he started. Aria's knees weakened, and now Damien said, voice shaking with restrained fury, he wants to finish it with you. The lights in the hallway snapped off one by one, darkness rushing toward them like a wave, and the voice closer, clearer, called her name again. Aria. Damien grabbed her hand. Run. He exhaled pain flickering across his face. Because the moment I revealed myself, the moment I stepped into your life, he would know exactly where to find you. Why would he want to find me? She whispered. Damien stepped closer. Because you saved me, he answered. And in doing so, you witnessed something you shouldn't have. What did I witness? She breathed. His eyes darkened. With time, you'll remember. Aria shook her head fiercely. I want the truth now. You're not ready for the truth, Damien said, voice weighted with something like sorrow. But I'm here. I will protect you from him, from everything. And who protects me from you? She whispered. Damien went still. Something raw flickered in his expression, hurt, longing, restraint wrestled into silence. He reached out slowly, fingers brushing a single curl of her hair from her face. I never wanted to frighten you, Aria, he murmured. But I will never let anything take you from me again. She shivered, not from fear, but from the gravity of his words. He stepped back then, as if sensing her need for space. Tomorrow, Damien said gently, I'll show you the rest of the truth. Her pulse hammered, the truth about what she whispered. He looked at her for a long, heavy moment. About us. Snowfall glittered like broken diamonds outside the windows as Aria descended the sweeping staircase later that evening. Her dress, chosen by the maids without her input, was a deep midnight blue that clung softly to her frame, catching the light with every hesitant step. She wasn't sure why she'd agreed to attend the gala, but resisting had felt useless. Everything in this mansion moved with or without her permission, as if her choices had been anticipated long before she made them. Carlyle waited at the bottom of the stairs. You look lovely, Miss Stone, he said with a warm but cautioned smile. The chairman is waiting by the car. Aria's stomach tightened. She wasn't ready to face Damien again. Not after the way he'd looked at her like she was someone he'd been missing, someone he'd been chasing, someone he'd claimed long before she realized she was running. Outside, the snow-covered courtyard glowed beneath rows of lanterns. A sleek black limousine idled by the steps. The driver opened the door and Damien stepped out. He wore a tailored black suit, the fabric catching faint silver reflections from the snow. His eyes met hers instantly. No hesitation, no wandering, and Aria felt something inside her jolt violently. You're early, he said softly. You didn't give me much choice, she replied. A faint smile curved his mouth, but it didn't reach his eyes. I rarely do. He offered his hand. She didn't want to take it. She didn't want to need it, but when her fingers met his, heat shot through her veins so quickly she almost gasped. Shall we? He murmured. She nodded, letting him help her into the limousine. The gala hall was a palace of glass in winter light, filled with the city's elite. Diamonds flashed, suits gleamed, laughter echoed like crystal shattering sharp and false. Arya stepped in and every head turned, not subtly, not politely. Everyone outright stared. Whispers slithered through the air. That's her. The engagement must be official. Damien finally brought her out. Damien placed a hand at the small of her back. Ignore them. How am I supposed to do that? She hissed. Simple, he said. Stay close to me. He guided her through the crowd with practiced ease, nodding to a few powerful-looking men and women. Arya could feel their eyes assessing her, dissecting her, placing her in some unknown category she didn't understand. An older woman with pearl earrings approached, smiling, with thinly veiled curiosity. So, you must be Arya. Her gaze swept Arya from head to toe. I must say we expected someone a bit different. Arya stiffened. Different how, less? She twirled her hand vaguely. Ordinary. Damien's hand tightened dangerously at Arya's waist. Be careful, he said in a low, icy murmur. Your words reflect your judgment, and your judgment reflects your intelligence. The woman paled. I meant no offense. You meant every word, Damien replied. Try them again at your own risk. The woman retreated immediately. Arya swallowed. You didn't have to say that. Yes, I did, Damien said. These people feed on weakness. I won't let them feed on you. Before she could respond, a tall man approached them. His hair was steel gray, his suit impeccable, his smile razor sharp. Damien, he greeted, then turned to Arya. And this must be your lovely fiancé. Arya froze. Damien didn't correct him. The man laughed softly. I knew the contract would be signed soon. Her heart hammered. Contract. Damien moved slightly in front of her, shielding her from view. It's handled. Handled. As if she were a transaction. The man winked at Arya. Welcome to the family, dear. You'll find that marrying a Hale comes with benefits. Arya's shock spiked. I'm not. But he was already gone. She rounded on Damien. Fiancé, you let them think that. They think what they need to think, he said calmly. I didn't agree to anything like that. You signed the contract. Arya's breath hitched as anger and panic collided inside her. I thought it was a job contract. Damien leaned in close, breath brushing her ear. You didn't read the final page. She stiffened. Damien. He moved them away from the center of the room, guiding her toward a side balcony lined with frosted glass and glowing lanterns. The cold air hit her as soon as they stepped outside. You lied to me, Arya whispered, voice trembling. You put me in this position on purpose. I didn't lie, Damien said softly. I omitted. That's the same thing, not to me. His eyes glowed dark, conflicted, possessive. You needed protection, Arya. The only way to give it to you was to bind you to me legally. People don't touch what belongs to me. Her breath choked. I'm not your property. No, he said. You're something else entirely. A soft gasp echoed from the doorway behind them. An elegant woman in a green gown approached, lips curled in a delicate smirk. Damien, darling, she purred. Are you introducing your bride to your old friends? Arya flinched. Bride? The woman's smirk widened. Oh, you didn't tell her. How charming. Damien turned cold as winter steel. Charlotte, walk away. Charlotte raised a painted brow. She look lovely. A bit naive. But lovely. Arya stepped forward. What do you mean, bride? Charlotte's voice dripped with cruel amusement. The engagement announcement, dear. The one everyone's talking about tonight. Damien grabbed Charlotte's arm with terrifying calm. If you speak another word, you will regret it. But Arya's voice broke through the rising tension. Damien, she whispered, trembling. What engagement announcement? He released Charlotte. Slowly, painfully slowly, Damien turned to face her. His silence was the answer. Arya's world tilted. You planned this, she whispered. You planned everything. Damien's voice was low, desperate, unguarded for the first time that night. Arya, listen, I can't. She choked, stepping back. I can't be here. I can't breathe here. She ran, through the hall, past the guests, past the whispers. Snow rushed into her lungs as she burst out the front doors of the gala hall. Behind her, Damien swore under his breath and went after her. But Arya was already gone into the night, running from the truth, from the contract, and from the man who had no intention of ever letting her go. Arya ran her hand gripped tightly in Damien's as the hallway lights died one by one behind them. Each bulb snapped off like a breath sucked from the air, plunging the manor into a suffocating, unnatural darkness. The echo of footsteps that weren't theirs stalked them from somewhere deeper inside the wall with slow, deliberate, too controlled to be human. "Don't look back," Damien said, voice taut as wire. But she did. For the briefest moment, as another light blinked out, she saw a silhouette tall, still standing at the far end of the corridor, watching, waiting. When the next light died, he disappeared. Her lungs burned as they reached the staircase, the old railing shuddering under their grip. "Damien, who is he?" she gasped. "Not now." His voice was harsh, panicked in a way she had never heard before. "But you said I know what I said," he snapped, dragging her down the steps. "But if he gets inside this part of the manor, explanations won't matter." Arya stumbled, catching herself against the wall. "What does he want with me?" Damien turned, his face pale under the dim emergency lights. "You, dead, removed, silenced. Pick whichever word you'd like." Her throat tightened. Why? His gaze softened painfully. "Because you saved me when you shouldn't have. Because you saw him when he didn't want to be seen. And because I'm the only person alive who can stop him." A thud sounded upstairs, heavy, deliberate. Arya flinched. "He's inside." Damien swore under his breath. "We're leaving. There's a car behind the manor." He grabbed her hand again and pulled her through a side door into a smaller hallway. The temperature dropped instantly, so cold her breath plumed in front of her like smoke. Something scratched along the wall behind them. Arya froze. Damien squeezed her hand. "Don't," a voice drifted from the darkness. "Arya." Her knees nearly buckled. It wasn't distorted now. It wasn't mechanical. It was human, too human. Deep, calm, almost affectionate. Damien whirled, pulling her behind him. "Stay behind me. You can't shield her forever," the voice murmured. Damien's eyes darkened. "Watch me." A low chuckle echoing from everywhere and nowhere. "You think she'll stay with you when she learns the rest?" Arya felt Damien stiffen. "What rest?" she demanded, tears burning her eyes. "Damien, what is he talking about?" He didn't answer. He pulled her again, blocking her view of the shadows, guiding her down the corridor faster. "Tell her," the voice whispered. "Tell her what she saw. Tell her why she ran. Tell her why you're terrified she'll remember." Damien stopped short. Arya felt his breath falter. "Damien," she whispered. He didn't turn. He didn't breathe, because every word was true. They reached the back exit, a heavy metal door sealed with biometric security. Damien pressed his palm to the scanner, but it beeped red. "Access denied." Damien slammed his fist against the reader. "No. No, no, he's hacked the system." Arya backed away, chest tight with terror. "Damien, I'll override it," he said, pulling up a hidden panel in the wall and typing rapidly. "I just need 30 seconds. They didn't have 30 seconds. The hall behind them went suddenly quiet. Too quiet. Arya's heart dropped into her stomach. "Damien," she whispered. "He's gone." "No," Damien said through clenched teeth. "He's repositioning." "How do you know?" "Because he always—" A hand wrapped around Arya's ankle from beneath the stairs. She screamed and stumbled backward, falling hard as the grip tightened. A cold, gloved hand dragging her toward the dark gap under the staircase. Damien light exploded as Damien dove, ripping Arya out of the man's grip with a force that sent them both crashing into the opposite wall. The shadow under the stairs retreated fast, too fast. Arya's hands shook. "He touched me." "He touched me?" "He won't again," Damien said, breath ragged. He cupped her face, checking for injuries. "I promise." His voice cracked on the last word. The lights flickered. The emergency alarm blared. Damien spun, grabbed her hand again, and slammed his palm against the emergency release lever. With a groan, the door unlocked. The night air blasted over them as they burst into the snowy courtyard, where Arya cried. "Damien, where are we going?" "The car behind the greenhouse," he said. "It's off the grid. He can't track it." They sprinted across the courtyard, snow crunching beneath them, breath pluming in frantic bursts. Frost clung to Arya's lashes, her lungs burning from cold and panic. Behind them, something metallic clanged. Arya froze. The forbidden hallway door, the one they'd come through, was wide open, and a silhouette stepped out into the courtyard. Tall, still, watching. "Don't stop," Damien said, dragging her again. "Don't look." But she did, and their eyes met. She couldn't see his face, but his posture was unmistakable. Calm, almost gentle. Like he knew her, like he had been waiting for her all this time. He raised a hand, her blood iced. "Arya." Damien pulled her behind the greenhouse, punching a code into a concealed keypad. A sleek black car slid out from a hidden garage, headlights cutting through the storm. He opened the passenger door. "Get in." She hesitated. "Damien, what if he follows us?" Damien turned toward the silhouette, now stepping fully into the snow, the pale light revealing just enough of a face to make the world spin. "He won't," Damien said darkly. "Not while I'm here." "Why not?" Arya whispered. Damien's eyes were full of something raw and unguarded. Fear, fury, and something that cut deeper. "Because," he said softly, "he doesn't want me dead anymore." "Then what does he want?" Damien's voice broke. "You." Arya's breath hitched. He gently pushed her into the car, slammed the door, and rounded to the driver's side as the shadow moved closer, each step deliberate. Damien started the engine. "Hold on," he said. The tires screeched, snow flung into the air, and the last thing Arya saw before they sped into the night was the figure standing perfectly still in the courtyard, watching them with unwavering, terrifying patience. He didn't chase. He didn't need to. He had found her. Snow roared past the windshield as the car tore down the frozen road, tires skidding dangerously close to the ditch. Arya clutched the door handle, knuckles white, her pulse pounding in her ears. Damien's jaw was locked, eyes fixed ahead, hands tight on the wheel, as if keeping the car straight was the only thing holding the world together. Neither spoke for miles. Only when the manor lights vanished behind them did Damien exhale shakily, as though he'd been holding his breath since the moment the shadow appeared. "We're safe for now," he murmured. Arya shook her head. "No, we're not. He found us, Damien. He was inside the house. He's been in the walls watching me. Watching you." Damien tightened his grip. "I know." Her voice trembled. "What does he want with me?" Damien didn't answer immediately. The wipers squeaked across the glass clearing, a thin view of the snow-laced forest ahead. Then quietly, as if each word cut him, he said, "He wants to erase what you remember." Arya's breath caught. "But I don't remember anything." "You will," Damien replied. His voice was low, haunted. "Your memories are buried, not gone." She stared at him, heart thundering. "What did I see that night? What is he so afraid I'll remember?" Damien slowed the car, pulling off the road and stopping beneath the shadow of tall pine trees. The engine idled softly in the otherwise silent night. Snowflakes drifted past the windows like falling ash. He turned to her fully. "You saw him kill the man who tried to kill me." Her blood iced. "No," she whispered. Damien nodded. "The accident wasn't an accident. Someone rammed my car off the bridge. Someone planned it. But Damien's voice cracked. He got to the assassin first, and he didn't let him live long enough to speak." Arya covered her mouth, shaking violently. "So I saw a murder. That's why he's after me. That's part of it," Damien said. "Part of it." Her heart plummeted. "What's the other part?" Damien hesitated, pain flickering across his face. "He didn't expect you to save me. He didn't think you'd climb into the wreckage. He didn't think you'd risk yourself for a stranger. And what does that matter?" Because Damien said softly, "You became the one variable he didn't control." Arya stared at him. "So he wants to eliminate me?" "Yes," Damien said. "Or claim you." She choked. "Claim me?" A muscle in Damien's jaw jumped. "He's been obsessed with every detail of your life since that night. Your jobs, your homes, where you walked, who you spoke to. He was there long before I ever found you." Her stomach churned. "How long?" 3 years. The woods seemed to absorb the words, leaving a cold, ringing silence behind. Arya swallowed painfully. "Damien, were you honest about everything?" His eyes lowered. "Not everything." Her breath shook. "Tell me." Damien reached into his coat and pulled out a small envelope, the same gold seal she'd seen on the night she first stepped into Hale Dominion. He placed it in her hands. Inside was a single photograph. A girl, 19 years old, running across a snowy road with a flashlight. Aria's breath left her lungs. It was her. "When was this taken?" she whispered. Damien's voice was barely audible. "The night of the accident." Her heart stuttered. "But I don't remember being there until the flames." Damien nodded slowly. "You don't remember the moments before you saved me. And he doesn't want you to." Aria stared at the photograph, confusion and fear twisting her insides. "Damien, who took this picture?" He met her eyes. "That's the part I didn't want to tell you." Aria's pulse hammered. "Who?" Damien swallowed, pained. "Me." The world tilted. "I saw you before the car hit the guardrail," Damien said. "You were running toward the bridge. I don't know why, I don't know what you saw, but the moment the car exploded, you changed. It was like you didn't recognize anything from before." Aria's voice trembled. "Why didn't you tell me this sooner?" "Because you looked at me like a stranger," Damien whispered, "and it broke me." Silence fell between them, heavy, trembling, painful. She looked away, tears burning her eyes. "Damien, this is too much, I know. I don't know what to believe, I know. I don't even know if I can trust you." Damien inhaled sharply, but didn't defend himself. "Then trust what you feel when you look at me." Her breath shuddered, because when she looked at him now, really looked, the panic inside her twisted into something else. Something warm, something terrifying. He reached out, brushing his fingers lightly against her cheek. "I didn't bring you here to trap you, Aria. I brought you because I knew he was close, because when I finally found you again, I couldn't face losing you a second time." Her breath hitched. "And now," he said softly, "you choose." He pulled a white envelope from the glove compartment and placed it beside her. A blank contract, no clauses, no conditions, only a space for her signature if she wanted to stay. "And if I choose to leave," she whispered. Damien exhaled shakily. "Then I'll let you go. I'll keep my distance. I won't bind you again, but I will still protect you from afar if I must." Aria looked at the envelope, then at him. "You're giving me freedom," she said softly. "Freedom." Damien whispered, eyes dark with a plea. He tried to hide his only freedom when it's chosen. The woods stayed silent. The snow kept falling. Her heart kept beating too fast, too loud. Finally, she lifted her eyes. "I won't sign anything tonight," she said. Damien nodded, accepting the blow. "But I'm not getting out of this car either." His breath caught. "Aria, I choose to stay," she whispered. "Not because of a contract, not because of fear, but because I need the truth, and I don't want to face it alone." A tremor passed through the Damien's shoulders. Relief, fear, something deeper. He reached for her hand gently, hesitantly, like she was the only fragile thing left in the world. And for the first time, Aria didn't pull away. "Thank you for experiencing this story with me. What would you have chosen in Aria's place, stay or run? Share your thoughts below, and don't forget to follow so you never miss the next chapter of this world.